You bake bread for someone, you're nourishing people, you're a doctor. It's a very good way of making a living too, very wholesome. Bread is the first food, and it's the staff of life. We are a very, very small family-run bakery with 4 generations in the village of Cappoquin in West Waterford. Right where we're here now, my grandfather, John Barron, who's in that portrait up there on the wall, he started the bakery in 1887 and it's still going today. You've had 2 world wars in that time, and we've had a civil war, and we've had lots of recessions, and Barrons are still making a living on the side of the street in Cappoquin. The motto always with the Barron family was small is beautiful, and when you're making something in a small way, it is always better quality than when something gets bigger and bigger and bigger and you lose quality for volume. So quality, not quantity. My father used to say quality, not quantity. The memory of him baking bread was he just was so passionate about it, he loved it. No, my life could have taken a different turn altogether because I wanted to do au pair, and I was going out to Germany because I wanted to learn German, and I was so saddened when I didn't get that job, and you know, I suppose I was meant to be here, but I came home to help my father basically because he was 76 and I felt he was so passionate about it that I just was a great joy to him at the end of his life, because I was so enthusiastic about the business that, you know, it came at a stage of his life he never expected it. I suppose he didn't ask me. No, that's interesting. I came home because I needed to help him. But he was very proud. He told me that the week before he died. Yeah. And I always remember when he died, I used to be out making big batches of those soda breads that I made for you now, and mixed it by hand, and I used to be crying. And I don't know if you know that psalm, his goodness will follow me always. That used to keep coming into my head. His goodness shall follow me always through the end of his days. Because he was a very good man, yeah. He gave an awful lot. And he was the youngest of 12, and families are families. And I suppose he wasn't respected for what he did within the family, you know. Oh, it does. It has great memories, lovely, happy memories. We had a lovely childhood, very happy childhood. And it does bring back lovely memories. And the smell, and when I'd wake up in the morning, you'd hear the hum of the oven, my father baking, and you came down always to the waft and smell of beautiful fresh bread. And I suppose it is a lovely memory. And living here, everybody who came in here loved the home. They all said there was always a lovely vibes in the home. And I think it was the smell of bread too was part of it, you know, that it came in and they could feel that. So I'm a 4th generation in this building of doing the same thing, and the family living up here. So it was some responsibility when I inherited it in 1980, because it was a weight of history on me. So I suppose I did feel, you know, I had to make good of it, you know, and carry on the good tradition and produce good bread to nourish the locals and all that, yeah. So we're here and we're still here, so that's it. Yeah. So it was in a very bad way when my father took it over, and his sister and himself built up the business again. She was a very good businesswoman and he was a very good baker. Yeah. So yeah. So it was, then it fell to me, so I was the next generation, and Joe. So I fulfilled my dream because I added a coffee shop to it, and I had it when I did that 33 years ago. These are tins with the Barron name on it. We don't have them anymore. 100 years. Hi, Ramil. Maybe he's not here. So baking is a lovely occupation or way of making a living because it's very fulfilling, because it's only as good as the passion you put into it when you're making it. It's the proof of the pudding, as they say, is in the eating. So of course you just start off with good ingredients when you're making bread and the best quality that you can find. My father used to make this recipe. I worked with him for a while in the bakery. He died in 1980. So I worked with my father in the bakery, and it was great to work with him, and he was so proud of baking. He had worked with his father, and my father was born in 1904. So it is a long time ago, and it's nice to be the same family doing the same thing in the same place for 130 years. So it's some history, like. Making bread, we still make it in the same way, using fresh, good ingredients. The other thing is our principles and values of leaving our money in our local town, and it would have been much easier to have got bigger, especially in the 80s. And everybody were getting bigger, and a lot of bakers that did that have come and gone, and we're still there. And I think that's what makes us unique today. It's part of what we are, that we have stayed small and that we're still survived. And of course the reason that we've survived is because our principles have come back to us. What we give out in life comes back to us, I think. Of course you have to give a good quality product. You have to keep the thing right, but those type of values that we learned from our father, I think carries on. And it's something I'm very proud of, really, because my father was a very good man. He reared lots of children. He made his bread here and got into the van after his night's work and went out and delivered it to the countryside. And lots of people in those days didn't have money. And if there were big families, because they were all big Catholic families, and they hadn't money, and my father would never look for payment. So I've always felt that his goodness has come back to us. We've been very lucky, Joe and I often think it's what's gone before us has been rewarded in a different way, We reap the seeds that we sow. Have you heard that one? Yeah. Oh, Joe, we just need you now. That's great. Joe has just arrived.
Oh,
you must have known. We're getting on, lovely. And now this is Joe, my husband, and he's going to switch on the oven for the soda breads. We have the sourdoughs done.
Oh, have you ordered it? I haven't found out.
Oh, it's lovely.
Oh, good, really?
Yeah, look, it's proving.
This is very high tech.
I'll just set up here for this. There's a little hiss in it, I'd say. Give it a little more air first, yes. Yeah, more air, yeah. Now, more oil. Look, it's getting dark in the oven.
We're married here, since
23
years.
24, 25 years. Yeah.
1993, yeah, that's what, 23 years.
We're here, you're here 24, Joe, because it was the 1st of January 1993. So 24 years, yeah. He's nearly a quarter of a century here, quarter of a century.
But no, as I often said in the beginning, when I did get married to Esther, if she had another business, maybe making paint or something else, I just wouldn't like that. But I actually did like the business, so I was happy to get involved.
This is the wonderful thing about the farmers market. It is the comeback to the community, because when you come to the farmers market, they're not rushing. It's a different environment to shopping than anywhere else, and they're supporting the local people who they know live out the road, or a farmer who's growing some vegetables, or a man who has lovely free-range eggs and they make beautiful things. So people come to support it because they're leaving their money within the area of within their own community. We used to have two cobblers for our shoes. We had 2 tailors, people who made their suits and their skirts or pieces of tweed, and we had about 3 drapery shops when I was a child. There was only one bakery had survived while I was there. I don't know why, the reason for that is, but in my father's time there was 6 or 7 bakeries. My father had that principle: put your money where you get it. If the man selling the draper up the road came in and bought your panloaf, he went up and ordered his suit from him, you know, when he needed new clothes. So we would always have to go to people who supported us. It was a way of life. And I mean, for the 80s, for me, it was a way of life. I wasn't in it for making the money. I was paying my bills, paying my staff, and, you know, surviving. I was living in a home that was my family's home for years. So as a result of that, my needs were little. But if I had big needs, I'd have closed the shop because it wasn't worth all the work for the return. So that's the difference for being passionate about what you do. So I came home and learned the trade from my father and from my sister, the confectionery, and I carried it on from 1980 to 93. And then my husband, Joe Prendergast, joined me, and he brought a lot of marketing skills. He enjoyed making good bread, and he enjoyed what I was doing, and I needed his expertise in the bakery, and now Joe is running the bakery effectively. And Joe then tackled the sales thing when we came in, so we got more power market-wise because of his skills, and he brought his new blood into it, gave it new life. It possibly would have died in the mid-90s only for Joe. It would have died because I was getting tired then. Well, I think the future is that a new generation comes along, and that has started in the coffee shop. You've Emma and Aoife after taking over the coffee shop, and I hope that will be a very successful story because they have children coming on. So let's hope and pray that that's what will be. That is the best thing that could have ever happened to me the day they came knocking on the door. And Joe, they came knocking on the door to know could they take that over. It's a lot of hard work, and it doesn't mean they might have good years and they'll have bad years. So that's the part that I worry about, because you're not in it for making the money. You don't do it, you have to make money, and don't get me wrong, but if you're in it solely for making money, then that'll be the end of it. But you know, everything dies, so nothing goes on forever. But I've done my bit. I've spent 42 years in the bakery. You know, we have that sense of community. Yeah, everybody knows about Barron's Bakery. They love our bread, and it's great.
Our friends thought we were mad, but no, we're in it because we just love our business, and it has been very good to us, and we're not there to bleed it just for us. Greed is a terrible thing, and we have a nice life. We go for our holidays all around the world, have been in lots of very unusual places, and I still, you know, I find that I'm just content with life, and I don't have to have the Mercedes or the helicopter. Just want to be happy and eat healthily, and no money can buy that.